Hello, Internet family. I'm here in Richmond. It's a beautiful day, late summer. My cats are around. I hope they'll make a cameo. This video is just going to be a blog. So if you're looking for some succinct information, this is not the one that you're probably going to want. So feel free to scroll along. But if you would like to just hang out for a second and hear what I've been up to lately, then that's what I'm about to get into. So today is August 20. 5th, maybe? It's the Sunday. The last Sunday of August. And I'm here in Richmond. I got back last week after traveling to California for all of July to hang out with my niece. And then I went to Nashville for the first half of August to do two things. The first one, which was be present at the birth of a dear, amazing baby and hold space energetically and assist with the birth and surrounding things for my amazing, incredible friend who had the baby. And I'll just say, that's private and all. I'm not going to share a ton of her business, but may we all be so lucky to be such a badass warrior and do it so gorgeously. I will tell you, he was born at 11:11, and his parents got married at 11:11, and 11:11 is all over their lives. So that was freaking cool. And I don't know if you've ever seen a birth, especially a natural birth. And I'm not hating on anyone who doesn't do it naturally. It's just a natural birth itself is such a force of nature that is a unique experience, I think, in human lives. And I'm so grateful that people have asked me to come help hold space at the birth of their children. I think that was the sixth one that I've done. Some have been family, some have been friends. A lot of them have been soul family who weren't blood family necessarily. Okay, so that was amazing because I was going to be around a newborn baby. And I know that there are certain illnesses, which I will not name just because I know there's triggers all over those words floating around right now because I know people who have experienced them. I made a rule that up until the birth, my whole time in LA and then my whole time in Nashville, both of which have amazing communities of people doing super fun stuff, I promised myself that I would not do anything indoors just in case, just to keep my immune system totally good. And I was also taking andrographis, which is an herb that keeps your immune system healthy and lots of vitamin C and other various things like that. So I didn't have to worry about breathing into the room with this brand new baby's lungs getting anything. And that was in some ways awesome. My introvert loved it, but also it was really sad that I didn't get to see a lot of my friends and go to a lot of cool things. I did go to ecstatic dance almost every week in LA, and I would highly recommend if you're in or around the LA area, go to ecstatic dance. The vibes are pristine. It's so great. You can just stare at the ocean and let your body do what it wants to do. And every time you look around, there's smiling faces, and it's just, yeah, highly recommended. Delightful hippie activity. um, then I drove back. And I will say, after driving cross country for probably, I haven't counted it in a few times, but the last time I counted it, it was mid 20s, almost 30. So I'm just going to round to the close and say 30 ish times driving coast to coast in my life. The way that I did it this time, knowing that I wasn't going to have any relaxation time once I got there to re-nourish myself, I knew I was going to have to jump right into action with my tasks in Los Angeles. I scheduled it going coast to coast. It was about, I don't remember how many hours total. It will make sense when I tell you. Each day was driving about 8 hours. So drive about 8 hours, book the hotel to sleep in, unload myself, unload my cats, try to do a little yoga maybe. I think I have been on my yoga journey, so I know at least one of the trips I was doing at least a sun salutation on each side every day. That was helpful. Try to get some sleep in this strange place. And it was also during trigger warning, Mercury retrograde. So there was some very interesting twists and turns that I did have more grace for because of the astrology of the moment. But, who wants to have their much beloved shoe snap off their foot, which earth runners are going to repair it for me, but snap off my foot when one cat's in the car is running with the AC on, but someone could also just jump in and steal my car right now if I don't get to it, and the other cat is hiding under the hotel bed because he doesn't want to go because he's sick of traveling, and I'm scrambling around the room and moving the whole hotel bed to try to get to him, and then my shoe pops off and breaks. But I was prepared, and I had other shoes in my car, so I just hobbled out and walked only like 3 steps across a gross parking lot. Well, it wasn't a gross, it was a nice hotel, but it's parking lot asphalt. You do wonder. And then I sat and put on my other shoes and went back in and got the cat and I fixed it. And that's the thing about when the astrology is against you that I've found, or not against you, just making things a little harder, making the road a little more blocked. Yes, it may be annoying, but if you have the extra grace because you know what's going on, and then if you do the extra step, make the call, go to the place, whatever, it tends to be that then the door is open for you and you can go, which is nice. And that took me a long time to figure out. So hopefully that's helpful to you if you'd like to try that. Okay, then what? So I came back to Nashville, met some amazing people, did some cool stuff. And the other thing I was doing in Nashville was energy healing for the Deep Tropic Festival. And I will tell you this, as a y'all know that I love Burning Man, which I'm not going this year, but I am haunting the narrative from here. So have fun and be safe, kids, if you go. And I can't wait to hear stories. Anywho, other than that whole world with the 10 principles and how it's decommodification, so it's a gifting economy and radical self reliance and radical inclusion and creativity and all these things, right? Gives it this particular family atmosphere. And then there's music festivals, which are not decommodified. So there are things for sale in Dubai, and there are people with different kinds of agendas, which is fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the culture it creates. I will say, as a non burn, this was the most ascended, gorgeous, clean energy, beautiful people inside and out festival I've ever been to, like by far. And it was on the Bicentennial Mall in Nashville, which is a place that's built on sacred geometric principles. So we put a perimeter of energy around, and the last night, I will tell you this. How does it work when you do energy healing? Oh, things are just nicer, things just work better. Y'all have probably heard me say this in other videos. There was a lightning storm that came through the last night, so that the whole entire festival got shut down an hour early. Epic stages, dance parties, people jamming hard. I went into a tent and the dance floor was bouncing. I mean, it was amazing, and everything had to screech to a halt because there was lightning striking within 3 miles, and all of the structures are metal because they're all pop-up tents and stuff. So one of the boundaries we put up, the energy healers who held the space for the festival, was that any troublesome type things, you know, it's not ours to control the karma of every person who may come through this, but we can say here's a perimeter, and if you're not well intentioned, you have to stay outside until the person comes back out. We're not messing with your connection. If they need to be connected to you, this is fine, but you can't come in. And so first off, just symbolically, and who knows, you can never prove this, right? So this is just interesting food for thought. It is interesting that something kind of came down and metaphorically shook the jar, so we had to leave because everyone had to vacate because there was metal, and so the festival got totally shut down. It was only an hour early, so it's not like much time was lost, but it was just at the peak of everything. Secondly, the next day I was told that there was a lightning strike, because when it went down, I went out of the metal structures and then I just kind of sat under a huge tree in the corner they called the Tree of Life, with my scarf over myself, like protecting myself from the rain, just because it was a little chilly. It was cold rain. I don't mind warm rain. Cold rain, not my favorite feeling. And like lurked and just did energy work to like strengthen the perimeter. The next day, I found out that a tree had been struck by lightning right on the perimeter, you guys. Like exactly on the perimeter. So I did think to myself, what did we keep from happening? Who did we protect? What did we protect? What would have happened otherwise? We'll never know. But it's interesting. So that was that. Deep Tropic. It was epic. If you get a chance to go, go. I just also have a feeling it's going to keep getting better and better and better. Then I came back to Virginia soon after. It took me, this time it was a sketchy ride. It was right after the festival, and I had been going on several nights of not much sleep. And then I ended up getting on the road just about an hour later than I planned, but that way I would have gotten in at midnight. And every time I got sleepy, because I was driving through curvy roads, Tennessee into Virginia, up and down mountains, um, misty, foggy. My windshield wipers need to be replaced, which I keep forgetting to do, which I'll try to remember to order more today. And so as I'm trying to clean off my windshield, it's streaky and hard to see. I was tired. My cats, they were okay. They were just generally over traveling. And so every time I got even the slightest bit sleepy, I would just pull over and take a nap. And so I didn't end up actually getting home until like 5 a.m. the next morning. So it was a long, arduous, somewhat dangerous, but I try to microdose on the danger. I mean, as soon as I'm aware that there's danger, I immediately take steps. Because your girl likes to be hale and whole and healthy and hearty, and I don't like to mess around with the realness of things. Okay, back in Virginia, I'm looking at a yellow butterfly buzz around right there, and one of my cats is there, happy as a clam on the lawn. The other one is back here. Sorry, you can't see them. They're adorable. And Virginia is doing this cool thing. I'll also say there's a hibiscus flower blooming across my yard, and a plant that I've had since last spring that I lovingly took in last winter, and then I left it alone in a place where hopefully I get water, and it did. She's thriving. She's blooming. I love to see it. Virginia is doing this cool thing right now where a lot of the trees are in their second bloom. So in the spring, when the land goes from dead, except for evergreens, like all these lovely lush things, just like dead sticks, and then first the flowers come before the leaves come often. And so a lot of these plants have like flowers at the tips of their branches, super beautiful. And then now, I did not realize this last year, I didn't notice, but now a lot of the plants are flowering for their second time, and the flowers are on that same spot in the plants, but rather than being like a bare tree with a bunch of flowers on it, it's a lush green healthy late summer tree with a bunch of flowers on it, and they seem to also be kind of a deeper hue, which is really just gorgeous and beautiful. And I'm loving Virginia right now. I'm connecting with the land more than ever before. When I decided to actually get citizenship here, I did some research on the flag, and the Virginia flag is cool. If you don't know it, look it up. And I was doing a little deeper dive, both energetically and metaphorically and archetypally, liking what I found. And I attended an ecstatic dance today, which was lovely here in Virginia. And I'm still just kind of recovering from the trip, honestly. One of the things I've learned over the years is to give myself integration time, because it just makes life better. And I didn't know until I knew, and people told me to, and I didn't believe them. I was like, no, I can jump back in, I'm good. And then I finally started doing it, and I was like, oh, I see. And now let's see. I'm sitting out here in the sun, finally making video for y'all. Yay. So I've been more on YouTube lately. I'm reading this book, which I have been reading for like the past 10 years because it's so thick. She thick. I don't mean literally, but every single thing that happens, you have to digest. I have more things to talk to you guys about. I've been having some cool visions lately. Some cool starseed stuff has been coming through. Also, some cool fae things, and always the dragons are around. If we're talking shamanically, I'm really looking forward to this fall. I think it's going to be beautiful. And yeah, gearing up to teach more Reiki, gearing up to do more wellness in the community. It's really interesting to me to see how wellness is starting to spread, and how I was just having this conversation today about analog versus digital. It feels like analog going to digital to me. That, how do I say this? The paradigm that we're stepping out of says that wellness, caring for wellness, is a waste of resources. I even had someone call the conversation where I was going to get the info I needed to do my job a chatty chat. Like, I don't have time for a chatty chat. I was like, oh, cool that that's what you see this as. I'm glad to know this. I will navigate differently now that I know. And it was fine, but you can't help but hear it once you hear it. Anyway, um, what we actually find in the data when we do care for wellness throughout a project, especially one that's taxing on the body, mind, and spirit, or that's temporary, it's like a marathon of energy rush, is that when wellness is cared for, actually, things happen quicker and more efficiently and better quality because more creative energy is available to be used and not squished. There's greater retention. There's definitely greater camaraderie among people when they're working together, and it's a win-win scenario. As I said, greater retention, people want to come back and be there again. And the quality of the vibe is just so much better. Like, people are just smiling more, and that, how many tiny things this has influenced. Definitely, like I said, safety. People hurt themselves less. And if you've been in a place that had that and been in a place that didn't, it's a no-brainer. Which one is better? Like, especially if you're going to work there. So this is something that is coming in, especially in the world, at least here in Central Virginia. The place that I'm thinking of focusing right now is on healthcare workers, including like the admin, because first off, admins make the world go round and they're so underappreciated, but also they're there holding the doors for everything. They handle all that energy. So we need to take care of the ones responsible for our structures being upheld, you know? So that's what we're getting into now in a more 3D sense. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? Sending y'all lots of love. I'm still doing the Women's Moon gathering every month. We just did it this past week, and we're doing it on, I believe, September 14th during the day. It's a Saturday in September. Also, you can always come over to my Patreon if you want to geek out about more stuff. And I know I've been dragging my feet on opening the YouTube membership. It's because YouTube can be a bit of a sketchy place for me. If you've stayed and you're watching this long, I'll tell you, people can be really mean and kind of creepy here on YouTube. And so I have kind of kept up some good boundaries with YouTube because I also have met amazing people here and it has directed my life in some beautiful ways, especially with the connections and the work. But also, someone like me, um, we have to take care of our energy, you know, and not go places where we think we might not be treated well. And when it's a if, then often it's just a no. And I'll go where I know I'll be treated well until the next cycle comes around and I can recheck. So who knows? Yeah, let me know if you want one. I would say for now, just come over to Patreon. It's lovely over there, and the energy is great, and you will definitely get uplifted. Okay, I guess that's it. Wishing y'all a lovely autumn. I hope that every lock you're finding, you realize the key is on a chain around your neck, blinging the whole time. You already have the answers. Wishing for you support and collaboration, and knowing that you are an integral piece of something larger than yourself, and feeling how precious your particular unique puzzle piece is to the whole. I wish that for you. And also just some lovely, beautiful times. All right, y'all. Take care. Bye bye.